to complete this entire thing. But since it's a working week, we are making sure that we cover everything in this 30 minutes, because most of us are traveling, we are commuting back from offices, and it's been a working busy week and a day, right? So we understand all of it. So thank you once again for joining. And the agenda for this remains the same, that we are addressing one of the biggest concerns in the entire retail industry and the e-commerce included, which is the impact of AI. Right? So AI is impacting from left, right, center, everywhere. Now, the biggest question is my brand ready? So we are also trying to answer certain other things like, is your brand is eligible? As in, like, do you have to be ready for this? Can you opt for, like, whether it's for my brand or not? So can you be the decision maker? And there is a lot of more about the confusion, chaos, everything is happening. So our main goal is just to make you sure that everybody is on the same page, and you understand these next 30 minutes all about the entire agentic AI, agentic commerce, and how to make your brand AI ready, right? So before we begin, just a quick thing, because since it would be very fast paced, we have three sections in this entire webinar. One, where we are talking about, like, what is this space about, so that everybody gets familiarity about what the concepts that we are dealing with, right? Second phase, which would be kind of an extension, would be 15-20 minutes. This is where we'll execute, like, how, in case if you choose that yes, your brand is also one of those who needs to be AI ready, then what is the framework, what kind of things that you need to do, right? And the last, stay tuned for this part, because in the last 5 minutes we are also going to cover that there is a shortcut to all the things in life. There is no, but we possibly have made this thing, so we have used AI to our advantage, and we have created certain things. So this is something as a workflow or as a orchestration, anything you can consider this as this part, but this is where you will get a shortcut how to ensure that all your brands are, like, compliant to all these things, right? But that is something that we're going to cover in the last couple of minutes. So okay, I think this is where we get started, right? So in case if some of you are commuting, please just don't worry about screenshots or anything. Just listen on the go, and hope it would be a useful journey for you, right? So before we dive into this, how to make your AI world brand AI ready, let's just understand and let's go back a couple of years back, right? And you can think about, imagine this entire purchase journey in your own way, how you purchase the products, right? But this is how it looks like. Let's say I'm taking an example of cosmetics, or it's, let's say, skincare product. So if I'm buying a sunscreen, I'm not say I'm very particular about, let's say, my skin, and a lot of users should be, because not everything is suited for everybody, right? And when we are entering into a new purchase, this is what happens. And this is a journey which was 2 years back. Somebody used to type, okay, what's the best sunscreen for their skin type? Then open tens and hundreds of blogs, right? And then when you discover certain concepts in these blogs, you try to dig deeper into those, right? So in this case, it could be SPF 50, 30, and PVPA ratings and everything. Then, because of the suggestions, you will also go to the vlog part of it. You'll go to Amazon, Nika, search for different brands. You'll also compare the ingredients now, because you are now more educated. Because of all these things, you'll start comparing on the ingredients. You'll shortlist your things. You'll also go with the pricing, one of the important things. And then finally, before you make a purchase, you'll read the customer reviews, the product ratings, and everything else, right? So you have to be trusted with the brand. And this is how you'll finally make a purchase. But this entire thing used to take hours and to a couple of days also, right? Now, this is the same journey. Fast forward now at the current era, the need remains the same, right? Now, but the people are typing different things. People are saying, I have an oily skin. They're giving conditions to their textures like acne prone. They're giving behaviors about what they are currently doing. So let's say they say 2 hours I spend every day outside commuting, and the region is Delhi. I need a lightweight recommendation that is under a budget and doesn't leave a white mark, right? Because a lot of us go with this problem. And this is what is happening now, and it's actually a screenshot, right? You see, the system has done all the things. It has given you recommendations, and recommendations are backed by research, ratings, reviews. You're consulting to the system, right? It is giving you a full comparison. So all the things that you would have done, the system is already doing it for you, right? So this is what has changed. From just keywords, now we are having a conversation with the system. So conversation, and that too under 15 seconds, your days and hours worth of journey is now being like reduced to these this very specific amount of time. And a lot of systems are doing it much faster than this, right? Here, there is no Google search. You're not going to any website. You're not reading any reviews. You're not validating anything on your own. But you are presented with an information and you're believing that because everything is coming with a source, right? And you trust the systems really well. And this is what is changing. So the change, and this is this bold statement. Please, I'll stick to the screen for the next 5 seconds. This is what is changing. The internet is no longer being searched, it's being consulted, right? Read this twice because this is the truth of the hour, and this is something which we'll focus more onto this conversation. All right. Consultation is the only thing that is changing. So the new customer journey now demands a new way. So in this case, your website, what you used to deal with earlier is a kind of a human audience. And humans are, say, tricky, and there are like bad customers, good customers, and the world is full of that, right? So you need to have a human audience. But the problem and the best advantage with the humans is they go with their assumptions. Even if you're not filling all the information pieces, even if your information is scattered, it is their intelligence, they can connect the dots and can finally trust your brand because the same journey they're doing across all the products they buy, right? So the forgiveness is given, but now enters a new customer or an audience, which is the AI systems. Now AI systems are unlike humans. They will not forgive. They penalize everything, right? So before it goes to a human, it is going through a much more advanced system who is taking care of each and everything that you're talking about. It is comparing with their masters, their behaviors, their preferences, and everything. So their best job is to give them the best of the best things, right? So you are now beating or like fighting against these AI systems. So these are the two audience that you have to understand. Most of the sites are just built for humans, right? And then this is the journey, which has been now collapsed from 7 steps to three. What we just discussed earlier was the old journey. The need is you want to buy a sunscreen, you go through all these 7 steps of multiple doing researches, comparison, going to blogs, reviews, and building all the trust down the way, and then finally making a purchase. And this is now getting consolidated to a 3 step process, right? When the need remains the same, the purchase is also happening through you. But the entire decision making cycle, who's reviewing it, who is trusting the signals, who's doing the majority of the convincing, is these AI systems, right? So you no longer have to just consider that human will take a judgment. This judgment is being taken by the AI systems, right? And this is there is another step to this which we'll not cover in this current webinar. There is a whole lot of different dimensions which are coming along with it. So what I'm trying to say is these 7 steps to three now getting truncated to just one, which is the agentic commerce. We'll just touch upon the peripheries because it's a fast-paced thing. We'll be having doing one other webinar completely dedicated to that part, right? And this is the thing, the era one which we have already been dealing with is the search engines, now to the AI assistants that we are talking right now and is being used by most of the world. And the third era is the AI agents, which is has just started from last year onwards and towards the later half of the last year. And this is where AI agents are taking actions on behalf of the user. So you no longer have to tell the systems that I need this, what could be the thing, and then I have to purchase. The systems are intelligent enough to understand what your needs are, when do you need a refillment of certain things, and they are taking actions on your behalf, right? So this is the decision, and the win here is not just your rankings, your clicks, your traffic, but it's more about are you a part of the citations, recommendations, and the suggestions, right? So you'll have to play a lot more on those areas, right? Now main question is everybody's talking about agents, AI, but is it really worth it, right? So are people actually making purchases out of this? So don't just count my word for it or your word for it. This entire industry is accepting this fact. So McKinsey, Morgan Stanley, every big company is talking about the same things, and it's coming directly from the customers. How the industry is changing. So the market is going to be in the next 4 or 5 years is going to be $1 trillion, which is getting influenced by AI agents. Of this, around 10 to 20% is the estimation that it would be mediated through AI agents, right? And in the AI agents, again, if you see last year onwards, the UCP, the ACP protocol came in, and the starting of this year, Google also partnered with a lot of other industry veterans, and they launched the UCP protocol. And these protocols are going to get matured more and more. It's like the same era that you have seen in 2022 when ChatGPT and all the other AI engines, including Yarnit, came into the picture. That is where people started seeing the shift. And there were a lot of speculations that time that, oh no, it's humans are not going to be replaced by anything. But now you can see in your own workflows, there are a lot of things that you are taking off your shoulders and giving to these AI engines, right? So this is a shift which is coming, and nobody can change it, right? So now the other main question which is striking everybody is like, okay, fine, this is happening now. What can I actually do, right? So, which means how the AI engines are decoding your products, your sales, etc. Right? How can you convince them? So, the main thing to understand is the core pillars, right? So, one is how the AI engines work. It's more like, just consider them more like a filters, right? One, you'll have to understand, are your is your information on the entire site or your entire catalog is retrievable? Are you so I'm just giving an analogy, just think about it more like a restaurant or as open or a physical store. So do you have the signboard open or closed, right? Then are you making the entire alley, or like how people navigate through your stores, is it properly labeled, right? Are you giving enough reasons for people to make a choice? So are you giving them the reason and classifying that this is not for you versus this is for you, right? Something like you're appointing shopper or your assistants in the store. And then finally, it's about the ranking. Out of all the worlds who all the players are competing with it, how good are you ranked on the information? And then only the systems are putting their bets on you. Again, the entire system, the funnel is risky, right? Even AI engines are taking that risk of recommending your brand, but they are calculating the risk, right? So here is what, if the brands, and most of the brands on the AI engines today are not visible, and because of these things. One, the sites are not crawlable, which means more than half of the sites in this world also are built on the platforms which are not like Shopify or Wix, your Webflow, WordPress. They are created custom, and for that you need to have a team who's educated enough, who's expert enough to make sure all the changes are being done in the right amount of time, in the right protocols, right? So your website, most of the stores are not properly trained on that part. Next is the information structure, then the contradictory. This third step is like one of the most important things. A lot of people have got segregated information across all the digital assets. Your social media is talking about a different thing versus your store and your marketplace. And then finally, the content is so thin, you're just putting surface level of information, right? So this is not giving a full feel to the agentic systems who are evaluating you on each and every step, right? So the main thing which now comes is, okay, so how should we deal with it? And this is the framework that we are suggesting, right? So your AI visibility stack comes from the level 1, and this is a 6th level stack. And this is something like, if you crack all of it, definitely there is no other way that or there is no way that the systems will not recommend you, because you are putting a check mark on each one of these boxes. So one is your access and architecture. Is your website telling the system or the AI systems, can it reach the store, right? Next is your structured data and feeds. Can the information, or how the information is stored on your website, is it possible? We'll discuss on each of these things in detail, but just to give you a signal, the third thing is the content depth. And this is one of the things that industry have been playing with a lot, but nobody's, and not nobody is not the right word, but a lot of people are not understanding the depth of it. They're probably doing some bits and pieces on social media and largely on their website, and they're losing out the track on all the other formats of content, right? Next is your evidence and reputation. Once you build enough noise in the market, definitely you'll have to gather all the informations back from the users who are using your product, to the editorials, to your all the other parties who are ensuring that they can attribute your resources or the kind of information that you're putting forward, right? And then it establishes your entity and authority. Can the systems trust you enough that they can take an action on your behalf and can recommend you? So this is the last thing. And finally, the e-commerce readiness. This is only happening in a couple of geographies right now. US being the only geography wherein your UCP ACP protocols are ready and live. But can you also guide the systems that they can take actions on your behalf and allow them to buy on your behalf, right? So let's understand this framework in a little more detail. So the level 1 and 2, this is the most easiest to crack, and a lot of people don't realize that value. They start working on the content immediately, and they say, okay, I have to put a lot of content, I have to ensure that I write certain things, I have to post it, all of those things. But ultimately the conversions will not happen until you work on the level 1 and 2. And this is the crawl access. First and foremost thing, is your website opening the gates for AI engines? Do you have the llm.txt in place? And that too, it's not just open for everybody. You have to take a decision where you're getting most of your traffic from, and is it worth of an engine that you want to bet on, right? So you'll have to define all of these things there. Then schema, the the, the thing that the engines are looking the most is the structured way, right? So JSON LD is one of the things that most of the people are not aware of. So how your information is stored on your data, on your entire catalog, is very important. So right from the, so just consider this more like your website. The look and feel of the website is very heavy. It includes images, it includes thousands of lines of HTML codes, right, which is viewable to the audience. But the AI engines, if they start consuming all of this information for every product, for every company in the world, it will take hours for arriving a result, right? So it's JSON schema is like the easiest that the systems consume. It defines them, what they're looking for, what it is not for. And accordingly, even if you change your website, your structure, look and sorry, not the structure but the look and feel, the schema remains the same. So this is the most consistent way of information that you can give to the AI engines. Next, your merchant feed. how how you are translating this data and giving it to your marketplaces, to your websites, and so that they can take an action on your behalf. Next is the clean architecture. Do you have a specific schema of the things in place, where the sitemaps, the internal linking, which product is connected to what, the articles, and every help section, so that it is creating a web of synergistic things, and it is helping not just your human audience, but specifically the AI audience. Then the rich attribution. A lot of the stores, if you see online, are lacking on this part. They feel that the description is fine, the title is fine, the meta title description, there are a couple of other fields like the SKU sizes, and that's done. But no, what about the other attributes? If it's an apparel, it could be multiple other things. What is the fabric? What it is made of? What kind of details I have to say? The kind of threads, because not all the people are comfortable with everything. And there are hundreds of other attributes, like from color to silhouette to each and everything you can decode and put it on your site, right? And the consistency in all of these things, there should not be any conflicting thing. So once you solve for these first two levels, which is comparatively easier to solve, it will open all the gates, right? But the journey will not stop there. One, because you'll have to add to the level 3. Now this level 3 says you have done your homework, like you have just opened the gates. Now is your information on the platform, and specifically for each and every product, is it in depth that the shoppers can understand all the things about it, right? And shoppers, whenever I say shoppers, it's both your humans and the AI engines, right? So have you given enough scenarios to play with, right? So is your product can be used in situation X or B or Y or Z? Are you covering all of it? Second, you are also talking about what is it for and it is not for. So you're not leaving any room for AI engines to guess, right? You're putting enough FAQs. Even if you don't put FAQs, the systems will identify that yes, your product can be used in XYZ scenarios, but for that they'll have to calculate. Here, if you put more and more information as a part of the FAQs, you're giving the information ready to the systems. and it is much faster. The systems will reward the sites who are doing it in the correct way, right? The compatibility, the fit, the benefits. So just don't talk about the attributes. Don't say that the weight of the particular, let's say it's a jacket. Don't say that it's just 180 grams. But what it is, why is it 180? What, how is it beneficial to the user, right? So the inferences somebody as a human can make out of it is, yes, it's lightweight, but you have to give these keywords to the AI engine to say it's a lightweight jacket just under 200 grams, right? And then put all the comparisons. If there are conflicting products in your own on your own catalog, just do a comparison between the products so that it's even easier for the systems to recommend one, right? And then finally, on the stage 4, when you move, this is where all the external forces come into play. All organic things, you have to get your customer reviews, UGC content, third party editorials, your marketplace signals, ratings. Everything is building a trust. And this is largely, I would not say like everything is in our hands, but you leave to the market, and you work enough, you address all the problems, and this is all organic. You have to do it, right? But one thing as a trust signal that we can do from our side as a brand is on the visual trust. Ensure that your products and each and every SKU is talking about how it is working in a particular scenario, right? If it's something as a cosmetic or a skincare, just show the application things. People do trust it more. It's a trust signal. Somebody's applying, somebody's feeling happy about using your product. It's put in the right environment. If it's a tracking thing, just don't do a white background shoot. Put it in the exact nature, and then let's talk about it, right? So it's building the systems and write all text accordingly, right? So that when the AI engines are decoding it, it is also building a level of trust. And this is something that you as a brand can do. The other things are external, right? The next thing, the level 4, the level 5 and 6 are largely about how this data is connected, how when once it is like spread across all the digital platforms, it is creating this knowledge graph for you, right? uh, it needs to be consistent. It has to be in the way that your brand is coming out of it, right? Your brand has to shine out. It's not just like you're getting mentioned here. So a lot of work needs to be done, and it happens only over a period of time, right? This is something that you will not be able to establish very quickly. And the final, the e-commerce readiness or the agentic commerce readiness comes to a closure at this moment is when you complete it and hand over the purchasing decisions to the AI systems, right? Which is complying to the UCP and ACP protocols as of now. But again, this thing we are not discussing so much here because in India, the system is not yet fully effective, right? But having said that, since it's already in a couple of geographies, it's just a matter of time that it will come full fledged into India, right? And to the other geographies as well, right? So the main question is now, this is all good. Where should I start? How to do it? All right. So we have just created the very simple 7 steps for you to become AI discoverable. And these are like all the things that we have covered so far. Right. So you start, first thing first is do an audit. Don't jump into doing everything right away. Don't start building your structures, revise your structures, add more information to your pages. You have to audit where the efforts are more versus which products are selling the most, right? Just ensure that you're placing your bets on the right SKUs, and you ensure that you know what are the problems with that. It might happen, and in engineering, there's a saying that don't touch your code if it's working, even if it is built on wrong practices, right? But if it's doing the job from A to B, don't touch it, right? So simply put it into the product perspective, do an audit properly, right? Second is research more. Don't just research about your company, your industry, what your consumers are looking for, but do also competitive research. Ensure that you're checking on 10, 20 competitors for each and every SKU, because it's not just 10, 20 is not more. There are hundreds and thousands of competitions for every product in the market. So just read, at least try to read 20, 30 of them and see how they're trying to crack it. SEO is kind of an open playbook, but there are AEOs, GEOs, and all the things that we have talked about. Just learn from them on a real time, right? Then, after taking all the learnings, then you have to rebuild your pages. Think about the features, benefits, use cases, FAQs, all the different type of informations that you can feed into your page. Change the entire structure. Make it ready for AI. Right? Then improve your visuals. Visuals is some part of the people, even if they change the structure, they put the old images back to the system because of their content repositories, right? Do recreate those images. Old images might have been working earlier, but now this is a new time. Everybody else is launching a new product in the market in your same category. Launch new visuals, refine, right? Next is your trust signal. You cannot go away, you cannot ignore this part because this has been in the practice and it takes a lot of weightage, but this is something which is partially in your control. One, you'll have to gather enough reviews, testimonials, but there are certifications that you can talk about, the case studies, any proof that you have gathered from your audience. Just talk more about it, post your products on that part, right? Then add all the structures that we have been talking about, right? And the last thing is the most important. Once you do all of these things, and I'll just give you an analogy. It used to happen 5 or 4 years back when the SEO teams used to work on certain things. They used to close a book saying, okay, I have updated this entire thing and now I have to move to the next one. But once it is fixed, it largely remains there for a longer period of time. And this is not the case right now. Everybody is trying a new way of approaching to the same AI engines. So you have to be. So the seventh step is the repeating this entire process every, say, you can repeat this entire thing on a weekly, monthly, or quarterly basis. But don't just sit on your products for a year or 6 months because things are changing really fast. And the AI engines are also rewarding the recency factor. But the recency, if it is coming along with a significant change, right? So this is something that you need to observe. All the 7 steps need to be there, right? And this is just an information thing. Like, so if you visit a lot of products on the websites, one of the kind of an information would be, yes, you have the minimal information wherein you're talking about a good articulated product image, right? You're talking about the SEO optimized titles, everything on the left hand side, and you are taking a bet on this. Versus if you improve all the images, you write a lot, not just for your human audience, but for your AI engines as well, right? And then this is what's going to make a difference, along with all the other attributes that we have talked about, right? So now this is the main part. To do all of these things in the rightmost way, and all the teams that we have spoken to, and we work with all of those brands on a daily basis. We are Yarnit. We are an agentic AI company who's helping e-commerce companies a lot, right? So we do it on a daily basis. We interact with a lot of big enterprises, to SME customers, to startups who are launching their new products on a daily basis. We know if you have to do it right, minimum time is half a day per product, right? And that is if you're doing it correctly, right? So the obvious question is there a shortcut, right? And this is what we were saving for the last moment. So the shortcut is no. You have to do all of this thing. There in life, not everything comes with a shortcut, right? So this is a demanding exercise. There is no shortcut to it. You cannot skip any of the steps. All the 6 things in the frameworks that we have been talking about, all the 7 things that we talked about on like how to do it, there is no shortcut. Somebody has to do it. Now either it's your uh, resource, you can put yourself there, you can appoint certain person in your company to do all of these things on a repeat manner. You can do that, or you can build your own AI workflows. You can use N8N, you can use Yarnit, you can use any other tool in the world to create your own workflows and solve for all of these things, right? So you can take a bet, but creating multiple workflows. And this is something, since this is a power packed session, it was limited period of time. Otherwise we would have shown you one of the workflows orchestration on one of the engines, right? We could have taken an example and we can show it to you in our 90 minutes workshop, which we usually do. And this is where we teach you like how to build your own AI workflows using all the open source things in the world, right? But taking using that workflow will take some amount of your time. You'll have to connect it to the right things. You'll have to build this workflow first of all, and will take not less than half a day if you have to do it, considering that you're solving for all of it, right? Or you can do one other thing, which is like working for others. And we, as we are, since we are in this space, we have solved for it for a lot of customers, right? And this is not a sales pitch. All we are saying is this is completely free, right? So you can use it until you scale, right? And this is Yarnit. So we have created this engine which is working well for others. And again, don't consider this as a sales pitch. This is completely free, and we just want to ensure that people are using it the most and people are getting value out of it. So there are three ways of doing it. One, you use our engines, and we can also show it to you quickly after this demo. uh, Sorry, after this, just a couple of minutes after, so we can show you how on Yarnet you can do all of these things. But just understand the workflow. One, you can have your humans in place. They'll take half a day minimum for one product. Two, using any of the open source in the world when you can build it and we can cover it in one of the workshops that we do. Or the third thing is do it under 5 minutes, which is through Yarnet, and we have solved for all the things, which is doing the gap analysis, research, SEO, AE optimization, your product content optimization, building the trust signals through visuals, right? Structuring your data, enhancing your visuals, and finally publishing it. So taking care of all the journey from end to end, right? So you can use it, right? So the last word here is when your shopper is a digital engine, right? You have to make them understand, and this is the whole game, right? So with this one, I think we are on top of the hour. We wanted to stick to the 30 minutes, but having said that, the webinar is not over. If some of you like still have some time, please stay on the call, ask your queries. We'll also run you through one quick short example of what we just talked about, Yarnet. So we'll try to cover a smaller journey for you. We'll show you like how the before and after of the version goes in. And as a part of, since you have taken given enough your valuable time and you've understood this concept, we'll give it to you without any cost, right? So you use it, as I said, you use it, you gain more signals, and that is the reward that we'll be getting. We want to be a part of your journey, right? And only when you scale up, you become big, you go for a subscription, and we are not asking for any subscription as of now, right? This is all for you, right? So in the meantime, while I'm stopping to share my screen, please, if anybody in on the webinar has any questions, please feel free to ask. Sorry, can you repeat that once again? Mhm. Okay, no, that's a fairly decent question, and yes, there are systems in the world that you can build. You can probably customize your own feeds, but the market share that we're talking about is like the main part is that every second counts, right? So the more you are like working on certain things, like discovering certain things on yourself, definitely uh, we can also build a spaceship, right? But it will take, for us it will take, let's say, 20 years to build that one, right? And whatever amount of market share I'll be losing, either it's 1 minute, 1 second, 1 hour, it's a lost game, right? So if you can use the readily available systems, now think about your budget. So building versus buying, right? So how much effort would be for creating a same engine in-house? Now, engine is not just one-time thing. AI is guzzling money every second, right? So the moment you turn your engines on, you create your own AI agents, you'll have to connect it with the right LLMs. And this is the cost that you'll have to bear, not just the infrastructure, but the LLM cost as well, right? So think about it, like how important that is. If you're a company, let's say with 20, 30, 40,000 SKUs, great. We'll also help you in building your systems, right? We have been working with brands like Landmark, Max Fashions, and there are multiple brands that we are working with. So we can build the engines for you, and you can build it yourself. But the main thing is the buying versus build is the decision that is to you. Okay, and yeah, thank you for this question as well. So yes, now this is an interesting one because in this AI era, it is the AI engines are becoming it's leveling the grounds for all. because the big brands do think that they are doing well, and a lot of us do think that they are doing well, but it's not, because of the size of their company, the kind of SKUs they're dealing with, the kind of complicated systems that they have built over the years. It's very difficult for these brands to come onto the AI search overnight. They'll have to do a lot of rigor. There are a lot of systems that they'll have to change internally. So it's even easier for the smaller brands to rank up. Now, ranking up again, as I told you, like there are multiple steps to it. So you can start from the level 1 to level 3 and 4, and we'll give you all the notes. So till that point of time, you can, because your brands could be like, since it's a smaller brand, your the number of SKUs that you're dealing with, the site, everything is less in complexity. So you can churn, like do it in a week, in a couple of days, all of these things. If you use Yarnit, probably, and I'm just again not pitching for it, but because I've seen it working for other brands, you can do an overhaul overnight, right? Just in a couple of hours everything will be ready, whereas for a larger brand it becomes very difficult. Now the only advantage with larger brands is, because of the years in the market, they have developed this trust. They have a lot of external trust signals coming in, and this is where you, as for a smaller brand, you might have to work hard, and this is the time these tools like Yarnet will give you. So it's not just Yarnet, you can use any other tool, but you'll have to ensure that your things are all the from level 1 to level 4, which is the content thing, from like solving all the complexities. You're done on this part, and then you are focusing more on building the trust signals externally. Yes, yes, there are ways now, but since it's an evolving science, there are multiple ways, including on Yarnet. So we understand that this is one of the problems. We ourselves have also created not just one but two engines, right? And we'll share you all the details to all the attendees later on, which is again completely free of cost, right? So you evaluate your brand, and even if you don't want to use any of the tools, there are ways, organic ways, or the ways like your SEO teams used to work is you query the systems, and this is the truth. One, you'll have to understand who is buying your product, both from the AI shopping assistant and from the humans. But because the needs are coming largely from human, you'll have to take be in the shoes of your user. Think about 100 200 different questions for every of each of your brand. Think about how this can be solved. What is that they're trying to actually ask, and is your brand ready for it? Once you solve for all of these things, the next signal is try and search on AI engines for your brand. Don't just feed in the branded keywords, talk about the problems and see, is your brand coming up on the rank, or is there somebody else? Go to those brands, think about how they decode the entire science, how they have solved for it, why are they coming on to the top of the engine. And if you solve for all these six things in the stack that we have been talking about, definitely you'll come up, right? And to solve for all of these things, this is where we have created two engines. One which is checking your website, your each and every SKU, and telling you where the problems are, the gap analysis, right? And the second one is more on the AI visibility, where you can just given your brand name and your couple of competitors, it will decode, it will do the entire research, which will take you a couple of hours to, let's say, a couple of days, depending upon how exhaustive your brand presence is. And then it will decode all the things and will give you a current picture, where and to what level you are being recommended, right? Which is more like showing you, like you can see the whole truth then itself. Yeah, agree. Sure. From a matrices perspective, the the most simplest one, and all of us have it, is the Google Analytics, right? If you don't want to pay to anything, just use Google Analytics GA4. There are multiple segmentations, event classifications that you can build in. Just think about, like just classify what amount of traffic it's coming from Gemini to Perplexity, from other AI engines, right? So you can decode all the things. Or again, we also have tried to help users, wherein we are creating certain KPIs to understand how well we understand your brand and the presence there. So there are multiple KPIs that you can play with. But the ultimate thing is, how many recommendations are you getting? What is your brand mentions? How many mentions are you getting in the searches and the recommendations? So finally, if your brand is being recommended, let's say by ChatGPT, you're getting a brownie point. Now, only because coming into the top three of any of the AI searches is like winning almost like 90% of the game. You are in the best three consideration zone. Even if the person is not purchasing a product, next time they'll definitely remember you because they're not seeing and browsing hundreds of brands, they're just browsing and seeing these three. Okay. Sorry, can you repeat this once again? Hmm. Okay. No, sure. And this is something which we covered in the beginning, which is like how to ensure that your brand is being understood by these new persona, which is the AI engine, right? So you'll have to understand them well, and not just because you are selling a product, but because they are somebody's personal assistant. They know a lot about each and every individual who is using them, and then they're searching. So it's not just a keyword search; it's more like a conversations that we started the whole webinar with. All right. So yes, your brand, the way you speak, the way you communicate, the kind of informations that you are putting out in the universe of this AI engines, the feeds, the schema, the structure that you're bringing in, right? To all your to making it compliant with the agentic commerce. Everything makes the game different, right? Hope that answers this one. Okay. So just checking like if there are and so if there are more people in the call, we can just do a little demo. Okay, sure. I'm just stopping screen share while I just pull my screens up. I'll show you like a little demo, like how in the next couple of 5 minutes, probably how you can use Yarnit, and which you'll be getting by default right after this call. You'll be getting an email which will have all the credentials, and again, you don't have to pay for anything. This is all free of cost. You can just evaluate, see where your current stores are. So things that you have to work upon is the audit layer. Check whether you have to act on it or not. Not that your products are like completely wrong. Probably you have already solved for it, your team has already worked on it, but just do a fact check, and this is where we'll help you, right? So there is a fact checker thing, the quick evaluation tool that we have built. You just use it, and then try to optimize it through the same tool, and see if you want to use those findings. If it's looking fine to you, just apply it to your store. We have seen hundreds of brands taking advantage of this one, and it started ranking on the search engines. They're getting more brand mentions, right? So just try it if this is working for you also, right? So can we just stop sharing for a couple of minutes, and I'll bring up the screen. Okay, I'm just sharing my screen to show you how to use this tool and use it to your advantage here. Anirudh, can you check like if the screen is visible? Okay, great. Okay, great. So if you see things over here, what we are saying is like if once you use this tool, you'll having an access to the quick evaluation. And this is the most simplest thing that somebody can do. Just copy a URL of your actual product and just paste it over here and let the system do all the talking. So all the analysis about the product, everything from step 1 to steps 5 that we talked about, everything is going to be evaluated. And finally, you'll be getting a score like this, right? So not every time it would be bad. For example, companies like L'Oreal, for one of the products, they have done it well, right? So you can also see like where you currently are ranking. The scores above 85 and the range of 85 to 95 is something that you should be aspiring for if you have to actually get ranked onto the search engines, right? So you can see like we have decoded everything. You can see the optimized versions of it like once, because even in this case there is a optimization possibility available. So you can see the system has pre-filled all the details. Now how we are doing it, it's unlike any of the other AI engines. We are connected with a lot of data sets behind the scene. We have that underlying data of Google, Bing, Baidu, and Yandex, like how these search engines are connected with the rest of the world. We get and we anonymize the data and we use it. We see like how and where the value of these keywords, phrases, and the conversations are, what people are actually asking for, how brands are addressing to those questions. We don't just read one or two; we read almost 50 to 100 brands per product comparison. So if you're selling a sunscreen, we check 100 other brands on the moment saying if these are ranking higher than you, then there's something good that these guys have done. And then let the system understand all of the right doings and then decode it for you for your own brand. And then we recreate all the things for you, whether it's imagery or the content, or it could be the meta details behind it, right? And then we don't just count our word for it, we also provide a full justification report for it, wherein we talk about the kind of keywords, the phrases, how people are searching for your product or the kind of product that you have, to where the systems and the research is in alignment to the AI engines, right? To your any of the improvements that we suggest, we give you full definition and the reason behind every change, so that not just instead of trusting blindly, you just have to like take a calculative guess whether you want to go for it, right? And 99% of the times, and this has product has been vetted, we are launching this on Shopify after years of research and years of already companies using the product, right? And this is the version that is out for the SMBs and startups now, and same for the visual analysis, right? So all you have to do is like if you just want to audit, use this tool, quick evaluation. We'll give you all the detailed notes how to use it. And if you want to further optimize and link your store with free credits, that is where you can just install us on Shopify. On the marketplace, just type the word catalog IQ Yarnit and you'll get an application. Just install it and all your products would be seamlessly synced, right? And for example, if this is one of the products that you have, it could be like with one image, two image, or even if you don't fill any of the information points, you let it to the system to fill it for you. Now, system will not just generate the content as I speak about, it will do all the analysis first. So first step is the audit layer, which we have talked about in the webinar. So first it has to do an audit where it is currently standing, on what parameters, right? What is working well, what is not. And then you go for a recommended listing with the full justification report, right? So we don't just say like your search volume, unlike so you go to tools like SEMrush, keyword planners, and everything. They'll give you the volumes that yes, the certain keywords are in the range of 10,000 to 1 lakh. We give you almost realistic volume because we are connected to the underlying data, right? We give you all the insights for each and every product, right? Same for the visual analysis. We're checking all the competitors in the comparison and we're saying like what kind of shots that they are creating. And again, we are reading off these images so that we can create the right ones for you for your own product, right? And for you, it would be just a very easy thing. Just click on scan. It will do all the things in 2 or 3 minutes. And then finally, you just click on optimize, right? When all the things would be seamlessly generated for you. If you want, you can generate the video and then just click on proceed. Before taking any step forward, the system will do a before and after analysis of the content. So what was initially versus what you are now getting now creating, right? All the things pre-filled for you for which are like best in the market. Most of the best competitors out there of yours are creating all of these things and you're missing out on. All of these things are getting created for you. All you have to do is just click on save, right? Again, I cannot stress more on this thing. Whether you use Yarnet or not, just ensure that you're following all the steps. We'll be doing a 90 minutes webinar, which is all detailed workflows, comparing multiple things. If you want to build your system using open source tools, we are also open for that. And in the webinar, we'll be using that one, and we'll give you a full walkthrough of how, if you want to use Yarnet, until you scale, it is completely free, as I said. So you use Yarnet, you use it to the fullest, and you compare the outputs with the systems that you can build through open source, right? Because open source doesn't come, it might provide you the skeleton, but the infrastructure and the LLMs are something that you have to bear the cost for, right? So having said that, this is a quick comparison. So your products can be further optimized. I'll show you like one of the product just quickly before wrapping up the webinar. So right from videos to product imagery, everything is getting created, and there is not even a single word of prompt that anybody human has written. So it is doing all of those things automatically, analyzing the best possible competitors, creating all of these things for you, the product imagery, the kind of screenshots that it is suggesting, right? All your brand presence, including the images with your call outs, highlighting the major important areas and how it can be used by people. So all baked in trust signals from the imagery that we can talk about. Right? And since we are being used by larger enterprises, we take care of the details to the utmost level. So compromise is not something that the system does, and we have trained it really well. So just don't go by my word, just use the product and then you see. Yeah. And you'll get all the good like the freebies behind it. So we have just covered the spectrum of the entire thing in a very short period of time, because this was fast paced. But having said that, post this webinar, you'll be getting ebook, full-fledged ebook. You can go and read through the same things, implement the things on your store, and see the outputs. And I'm 100% sure that you'll get almost like the double of the things that you're currently getting if you're not currently following all these things. If you're compliant, definitely the traffic is on your side, right? And just stay tuned, just stay connected with Yarnet. We'll be doing a 90 minutes full demo with all the systems that we talked about. We'll build the systems together with open source, and we'll use Yarnet also, right? So thank you once again for joining in this busy day, and really appreciate and hope that it will work for you guys. We all are in this journey together. So